Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called How Did the Provinces and Territories of Canada Get Their Names? I've watched a video similar to this before, but this is from a different creator and someone recommended it, told me to check it out. So I'm going to watch this one as well. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you know the origins of the names of the provinces and territories. If not, let's learn.
So a while back here on the channel we looked into where the name of Canada came from. So while we already know the origins of this nation's name, today we're going to be digging a little deeper into the names within this country. Canada is a country split into 10 provinces and 3 territories. All of course have names, from names as well known to people as the name of Canada itself like Quebec and Ontario, to more curious sounding names like Prince Edward Island, to pretty obvious to understand names like Northwest Territories. What's also interesting is how, while Canada is a country of 2 official languages, English and French, the name for a lot of these provinces and territories come from a different tongue, that tongue being the languages of the native people of Canada. So let's look at how these provinces and territories of Canada got their names. So let's start with the names of the provinces of Canada that have names that derive from the native peoples of Canada. Firstly, the most populated province in Canada, home to its largest city, Toronto, and the country's capital, Ottawa. This is of course the province of Ontario. The province of Ontario is named after Lake Ontario. This name comes from the Iroquois language word Canadario, and is thought to mean things such as beautiful lake, great lake, or sparkling water. So yeah, Lake Ontario's name can be translated as Lake Great Lake. Next to Ontario,
I mean, even like Canadario itself is quite a cool name, like even if they just kept it as that, Canadario. That sounds awesome. But yeah, that's why I remember learning a little bit about that before, how a lot of the names originate from the more like indigenous languages. And yeah, that's really cool. I wonder like how many people actually know that. Is that the sort of thing you learn in school in Canada? Lake, Great Lake, very straight to the point.
Great Lake. Next to Ontario we have the province of Quebec. This is a name of Algonquin origin. Like Ontario, its name also relates to water, as it's thought to mean a narrow passage or strait, relating to how the St. Lawrence River would start to narrow where the city of Quebec would stand. 2 names of provinces of Canada come from the Cree language, those being Manitoba and Saskatchewan. With Manitoba we have another province named after a lake, that of course being Lake Manitoba. It's believed Manitoba comes from the Cree term Man Intawapawa, which means the narrows of the Great Spirit, due to how it narrows more in the centre. Saskatchewan is too Cree and named after a body of water, though a river this time, not a lake. It's believed to mean swift flowing river. The Yukon Territory.
It's like, yeah, again, like I never really considered where names come from like in any other country before as well, but I guess all of them have the origins just in the land itself, or not all of them. I guess there won't be all of them, but a lot of them. But just taking these little geographical quirks and naming the full province after it is, yes, I think it's awesome.
It is 2 named after a river, the Yukon River, which resides in not only Canada but makes its way into Alaska too. It's thought this name comes from the lower Tanana word, Yukuna, which means big river. The most northern territory of Canada is Nunavut, which not only includes a huge part of mainland Canada, but also many of the islands in northern Canada and more or less borders Greenland. The name comes from the Inuit language Inuktitut and means our land, so residents of Nunavut might say, Nunavut is our land and you're having none of it. Seeing as we just talked about 2 of the territories of Canada, we might as well explain the name of the 3rd territory now. The Northwest Territory is called this as it's in the northwest of Canada. So aside from indigenous names, the key source we have
Why did they like, why, I mean, even like, yeah, why did they not give it like a more fun name, or why is it just so simple, Northwest Territories? It's like funny how specific it is. It's not just the North Territory, it's just the Northwest Territory. I have to get the 2 sides in there, but and it's like obviously that's where it is exactly. But why did they have such a lack of creativity for that one?
Northwest.
Maybe that was like later, before these other parts were named, I don't know, and then they just were like, where is it? Northwest, yeah. it's a territory as well.
Of Canada. So aside from Indigenous names, the key source we have for names of Canadian provinces come from the tea-sipping, forever moaning, name-explaining British. You're welcome. Some of these names, however, might not seem that British at first glance, like with Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Nova Scotia is actually Latin and means New Scotland, which is something we discussed all the way back in the New United Kingdom video, named by Sir William Alexander when he received the land in 1621. William was a Scotsman, so named this land as the new version of his home. Brunswick is a name that sounds suspiciously German, and that's because it's the anglicised name of the German town of Braunschweig. So why does this province in Canada with a German name have the British to thank for this? Well, when it was founded, it was named in honour of King George III, who also held the title Duke of Brunswick. New Brunswick, of course, isn't the only province to be named in honour of British royalty. Canada was part of the British Empire, remember, and the Empire just loved naming things after the royal family.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can see the difference in how like humble the people are in the names that derive from Indigenous language. They talk about the land itself. The ones that derive from British just name it after themselves. So self-absorbed, I think.
There's Alberta too, which was named after Queen Victoria's fourth daughter, Princess Louise Caroline Alberta, and of course Prince Edward Island, named unsurprisingly after Prince Edward. British Columbia was already known somewhat as just Columbia, but the British part was added by Queen Victoria when it became a colony in 1859. The Columbia part of the name comes from the Columbia River, which wasn't named after Christopher Columbus but rather the ship, the Columbia Rediviva. Finally, we have the one province with two names, Labrador and Newfoundland. These names differ from the rest as they are of Portuguese origin. The name Newfoundland should be pretty easy to interpret. When it was discovered, it was some new found land. Labrador, however, comes from the surname of Portuguese explorer João Fernandes Lavrador, which over time became just Labrador. But of course, the most important thing about all this is that these two names were used as names of two dog breeds, those of course being the Newfoundland and the Labrador, both of which are very good boys indeed. The Canadian provinces were suggested by Elizabeth Westner and Robert Fiddies over on Patreon, and thanks to their suggestions, they will now be honoured as Name Explain's patron saints of the Canadian provinces. If you want to become a Name
Cool. I'll leave a link to that video in the description, so go subscribe to that channel. Seems like very good, very informative, funny, nice animation as well. So yeah, tell me if you knew all of those. Yeah, you can really see it. It's like quite cool in a way, like how Canada these days is known for like being like the mosaic of immigration and having all these like people from different countries who live there and have heritage from other places that live there. And then even just the names of the provinces and territories all come from different places as well. So it's just really inbuilt into Canada to just be a mixture of people and things. So yeah, cool. Tell me what you think about these. Thanks.